Okay, so the other day I watched a video from the Galactic Federation. They do, they're a content provider. There's many content providers on YouTube that are putting out new age information of divine orientation through angelic channeling. So there's a being called Ashtar that's in the mix, and under the banner of the Galactic Federation, he told us a few days ago that Hillary Clinton's going to be indicted. So I believe that that would be a logical next step of a distraction. My underlying point is that they want to distract you and get you to pay attention to stuff, anything possible to get you to what's coming after that. But they want to make sure that you're distracted until then, because your attention, please understand it, your attention is precious in terms of what you see and you intend as God magnifies. Every piece of Jiffy Pop out here that's watching TV casts a spell on the belief. So what we're going to be cast with is the indictment of Hillary. The Army intelligence has the responsibility for maintaining the security of the country. Was there an election fraud? It dates all the way back to the phony dossier that John McCain introduced as a Republican side to legitimize a Clinton Foundation alleged false document against Trump that was put together by one of these British spy guys, some fat-bellied, I don't want to show any disdain for my fellows in the UK. But, according to these agreements, we're I'm not angry. We're allegedly owned by England anyway, if you want to go by the King's monetary system. But in addition to that, our security agreements allows for the countries to exchange information. Australia, England, New Zealand, Canada, and us. We're the Five Eyes. That's the name of the program. When you're an intel guy, you're like, oh, releasable to the New Zealand dudes. Oh, here's some good rowdy information. That's why we play rugby with them. Good. We all speak English. We drink. Yo ho ho. So, it's shared information. Little did you know, the whole morphing of the GWAT was coming to get anybody that they could, because there's dark guys in the system. You just have to look at it that way. When the web came on and people could go electronically all over the place and cross the borders with thoughts and who's doing what, it opened Pandora's box. So that can be interpreted a lot of ways. If you're good and it's like, okay, we can do this if we're devoted to making sure those alleged bad guys, please don't come in, because they want to kill us. And some of them do. I mean, there's evidence that they get hypnotized up or they get the hate in their heart from their doctrine and they really want to do it because they're doing it. But that's them being misaligned. More hypnotized missiles that don't know what the hell they're doing on this planet. So we, on the good side, my friends that like work at NSA, all the freaking white hats that I want to still believe know what the fuck they're doing for their job. Like, who's the enemy? Well, the only thing you have to go on really is that it's them, the other side of the GWAT. So let me get back to what's occurring right now. Ashtar says Hillary's going to be indicted. So there needs to be a roadmap to that, I think, at least to sensitize and precondition the TV watching audience to what's coming. So here's how the road leads. When you peel back the Fabian, everything is communist Solomon beat you in the face. except for the Nazis, who are down in Antarctica, and they're dark. The dark Aryans, the ones that co-participate with the Dracos. They switch papal hats, so they're cut of the same cloth, but there are differences that you could discern because it just comes with the character of what they were able to do. But they're both advanced black magicians. They're like ahead of you. The Nazis won World War II. They're down there doing what they do. We know this now. There's no fear in it. You know, we didn't have closed circuit to see what's going on in New Schwabenland. Are they doing whatever? So here's what's going to occur. I don't want this to be long, as usual. Just to back up and make sure I set the stage properly. So Kim Goguen, when she gives you her back door as to the handshakes, I'm back to Solomon. You're back to the Ayatollahs in Iran partnering up with the Taliban / heroin line that gets into, China. So it's the other side of the drug route that Bush managed. Because they work for Bush. I mean, ultimately, these blockheads. And this allegation of the thing going on in the Ukraine, they're all in the same club. The darkness is over there in the Ukraine. The DNC servers, Biden coming out of the CFR meeting. So that's all pretend. They're in the same, you pay attention to it. You talk to your friend on the train about it. You bullshit about it with anybody on the phone. You mention Russia's really going to fight Ukraine. You're going to miss it. Because that's just an indicator for everybody watching you that Trump came down the stairs on The Simpsons ahead of time. We're learning. You're still watching TV. That's what it boils down to. Now, is it a sin to watch TV? I'll go out on a limb and say, no, you can watch what you want. But know what you're watching. And that equals that an allegation that I believe to be true, unfortunately, because it can only be so. General Milley, who wears a freaking 101 patch, is in communication peer-to-peer with the Islamic bloc over in Iran. Some Ayatollah over there. Probably the guy, Pope Francis went over there in March and they coordinated. Jesuit to Islamist. I don't know what was said. Probably that was more show. But it's all tied to irrational behavior. Because during that period in March, there were guys from the Vatican that were trying to describe how the Pope was going to be able to talk to the woodpecker lips dressed in black. And the message from this Jesuit scholar is to tell woodpecker lips in the black, we understand irrational behavior because we light them up too in our Western storyboard, was the essential message. So unfortunately, General Milley, who's the chief of staff, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff of our military, the guy that walked out there with Trump and stood next to the church on Opposition Day, hey, I'm Trump doing this symbol, and I'm aligned with the church, with the religious block of that, because it's all one block. And so the military guy, Milley, was out there in his uniform, and he got chat, why were you there in that demonstration, and whatever it was. So now that Biden, Trump is still in the background, he's retreated from D.C., and there's money issues going on because Kim's got the money. She interrupted stuff in the money pipeline because she's got the DNA. So they're working around trying to build other pipes around her while relying on her goodwill in the hopes that I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt because she does what she does. She's got the right to do what she does. I'd starve them out, flat out. Figure out the workaround. There's a way to do it. And I know that I probably haven't thought about it enough, and I don't want to be distracted by that. So she says that Milley's a problem. She's identified Milley as an overt problem, talking on the bat phone to these people about stuff, and he's like in charge of our military, and he's speaking with the illuminated enemy. Not they're on the ultimately that they took the same oath to participate in the CFR. So you got to go murder somebody. Who knows? Who knows? We murder people in the army, not as you would, not as I just said, but I mean the killing part is part of the job. It's like police officers, people die. Mess this up. So let me switch to Russell Gould, because what I want to explain to you that there's going to be a build-up to the indictment of Hillary over a period of time. It's going to start with Milley. The media is on to him. And Russell J. Gould, who is our current chief postmaster, I recognize him as the only official operating under my flag of equality. This man you're going to see. But let me get to it and allow him to just speak.
Corporation case R period till the 385 till the 460.
All right, I'm going to skip ahead.
If true, he should be fired and tried for treason immediately, giving America's enemies a heads up before an attack. Well, that's the worst possible offense that a member of our military could ever commit.
You have here Mark Milley, not once but twice, before the election and after, contacts the head of the communist military in China, our number one enemy. Chiefs of staff knows every step of it. He's going to tell the enemy? If that's
so,
true,
these guys are, his job is to get you disturbed. We know Levin. He's just a Jewish screamer. Conservative. You have to go with the craft of conservatism as an opinion. It's a conservative opinion. Not a bad one when your army general is talking to China on that storyboard. It's not good. But it's all bullshit. The whole thing right here. Viewers, the whole thing's bullshit. He knows, and he knows. And unfortunately, Hannity knows that, it's their swing at the plate. I'll just keep...
Without a debate, what else does he do? He basically, according to this article, if it's true, he tells his subordinate officers basically to take an oath of loyalty to him. To him. What else does he do? He conspires with the head of the CIA who's worried about a right-wing coup. The head of the Joint Chiefs is collaborating with the head of the opposition party, Pelosi and Schumer. So he's collaborated, according to
this is going to Hillary
with
now.
The communist Chinese military, with the head of the Democrats in the House, with the head of the Democrats in the Senate. He's got support.
Let's remember how their whole election worked, right? They had, regardless of the COVID thing, they had 8 or so candidates in there, and they just swept it up. Whoop, they're in charge, supposedly. Trump knows. They go to Afghanistan, we leave the army there. And now he's talking about things, and they're all making you mad. And you're believing in this, viewers. You believe parts of it. Oh, well, Levin doesn't really know, and he's really mad at Milley. He's outing Milley. They all know.
The generals and others who he, according to this story, gets allegiances from them.
On August 12th, 1999, the Title IV flag, sections 1, 2, and 3, were filed for copyrights.
This guy does court-martials in absentia.
Postal Administration, and that is articulated in the
He's the man.
As well as in paragraph 0. The copyrights were also filed at the U.S. Post Office on July 18th.
One-man army, dude. He took the beatings for us.
In corporation...
He's just waiting for us to link up.
Till the 294, till the 568, till the 221, U period S period. Sedition, treason, and traitors. In 1999, the charter bankruptcy, the Constitution of the United States ended. In ending, The top brass of the U.S. military has known this for years. Upon knowing this,
So technically, we don't have a country. It's all bullshit. But we're still getting paid.
Where they
We're still
perpetrated
living.
and used the Florida Chads
But it's been a
to trick the
complete...
American soldiers, trick the American people, and to kick off a new...
You look at what happened since '99. Even down in Tampa, you know, Tampa's been a key model for this morph. The football team changed its stuff. You know, they killed the... You know, they had... They had Bronze Bruce, the swashbuckler, you know, they made him walk the plank. He walked the plank. When the Glazers, the Jewish men, came in with the books, they went over and took over the soccer team in England, them, because they knew how to work the money. They got Tampa to pay for the flipping stadium. You know, the people paid for the stadium on their taxes that weren't even going to the games. And then the Glazers absolutely took all the revenue. The city of Tampa, I don't know, I guess but the bonds, however the slaves pay at the hot dog stands or whatever they do to pay $100 to go boil for the game, and they're fun. William sat inside. William had a good time. William just wants to enjoy himself desperately because I'm a sports fan, but I'm over it all now. So this guy is in the process of telling you not only is Milley, I mean, he goes against...
To steal people's rights, the citizens' rights of the world, to demoralize the spirit of who we are as citizens of the former America, as well as the citizens of the world. In that betrayal, they tried to downplay the legitimacy of my position as Postmaster-General, and doing so, created a treasonous act of trickery through sedition to hide the fact that the United States government ceased to exist in 1999. When the United States
I'm sure he's formally notified the media, hey, here's who I am, they beat me down in the Pentagon. He did a bunch of court-martials at the Washington Monument.
For the charter to elect a president ended in 1999. Thus, the 2004 to Chad's election was the setup to not follow any guidelines to elect a president. Number two, that there was no, because the Constitution ended, there was no Congress, because Congress didn't reauthorize in 1999 when the Constitution ended. So the Senate and the House of Representatives ended in the former United States. And I kicked off the largest court-martialing in 2004, and in that, I syntaxed and disqualified the Uniform Code of Military Justice, as well as Title 10, and rewrote that in the court-martialing trials.
So he's done all this stuff in documentation, but understand that U.S. SOCOM, as it's been stood up by Congress, has kind of defaulted to be the multifunctional single, you know, between SOCOM and CENTCOM on MacDill, which is near Tampa. They sort of still function and do it. I was a member of all that. It's a good, healthy, the retirees, it's all set up to be a vibe. And we're heading towards an equivalent of the deluge from 12,000 years ago, 12,500 years ago. And we're at a point right now where we have to relive times in order to reconstitute ourselves as beings. And so we're getting a shot here out of the pirate ship in Tampa, and with this guy, it's the maritime deal. And David Icke walked the plank. And so the term walk the plank is significant because it symbolizes being captured by a bunch of pirates and being tried and convicted for a bunch of shit, And as you're, it's all how you want to play the role. Because a guy walking the plank can be a dirtbag that needs to go down. Like Osama bin Laden, if you want to say that. They didn't do that. They just wrapped him up and allegedly rolled him off the boat, which we doubt. Come on. We doubt. So, for all I know, they're in such cahoots that they would do it out of reverence because they were told to by the Islamists. So, McCraven, you can wear that shit either way. Oh, the enemy is the Muslims, but we need to abide by their religious preferences to put him to rest. Wouldn't that piss off Joe Sixpack, who just wants to see the face of the man? I'm going to let him.
Because of the sedition and treason by these traitors, the Title IV flag, which I have the copyrights to, will not be used by these traitors on the military postal bases, the military postal forts, the postal stations, as well as the U.S. Pentagon. The Title IV flag no longer sponsors these traitors which are on this vessel contract. The traitors' names are identified in all capital letters. The volition behind the capital letters is because they are identified as a vessel. Because
they were all supposed to be vessels.
Contract,
I just wanted to show you one thing before we get out of here. Let's see, Kelly. It's not going to show. But let me go back out of this. See if I can get I just want to show you something that's not going to be important. I'll pause it. Okay, so I switched videos. And this is a video from the Galactic Federation, because I wanted to prove to you firsthand that Ashtar, this being who channels, puts out information. And this being has spoken or been mentioned by Sam the Illusionist. I can't recall offhand if Sam has actually ever channeled Ashtar, but we've been told about his Federation and their management of interface with the light forces and the dark forces. So Ashtar has an ability to a knowledge insight as to what's going on there. When souls are transmuted to the light, they forgive themselves and they're totally in with us, and then all their equipment is left to be exploited. And it's high-speed exploitation, so we're able to learn what's going on. But I want to get back to Hillary and Trump and Ashtar being partners in the direction that we're going. And all I'm saying is, this being will either fall off Trump or not. Now, as I get into this, I listen to a lot of channeling, and it's dawning on me that I need to start I need to start paying attention to what I'm trying to teach you guys, and that is, if you listen to this background music, I'm not only in that whatever feeling it provokes. I'd be interested to see if it was at 432 or 440, and I'm not a musician, so I don't know. But when I hear it, I hear a little bit of the apprehension that we should be loving everything. And this is the tones of this background. It's interesting, because it's like going on the big adventure when the screen opens. What the hell are they going to tell you? And so these are angels channeling, and this is the message that we're getting about unity consciousness.
Who have decided to partake of it. You see our ships moving closer to your planet, embracing your world in our loving vibration more and more. While you see the buck has stopped for those thieves who sought to steal this glorious future from you all. The first indictment to be opened is that of Hillary Clinton, who once was chosen to step up for leadership in your world. That chance was whisked away in the flash of a moment. By divine decree, and she and her other cohorts will now stand trial for their unspeakable crimes against the people. The people are rising. They are awakening to realize they are living in a new world. Many lie asleep still, but this is of their own choosing. They have taken the slower route, and this is their decision. Bless them and love them as they are, for you know that you can. As for rumors of the end of days, I say to you, this is the beginning of a new time. The only end of days is the end for the old regime. The dark regime that sought to drive your planet into destruction for many, many millennia. That is what is coming to an end. Those who see it as the end of times are unaware. They will see it as they see it, but there are so many awakened who know better now. You know you will have a wonderful future as the divine beings. That Terrans were meant to be. You know the future is one of love, and that all fear will be cast off your planet. Be strong in your knowledge as you undergo your own changes, light beings. Be strong. You know that the death of the old brings forth the birth of the new humanitarian system that your people have longed for so long. It is decreed by the One Himself that you too will stop suffering and join your brethren out in the galaxy as superb divine beings of love, the holders of the knowledge and the guard of the light. This was the role Terrans were to play in the galaxy so many millennia ago, that of the Edens, before your planet was overthrown and cast into darkness. You can see when you look at the description of the end of days, that all of its distinctive traits have been fulfilled upon your planet now. There has been much suffering in this last age of darkness. Much deterioration, famine, war, pestilence, disease, apathy, and now ridicule of those who are the bringers of this new dawn. Your planet has known fear, and this fear is to be no more. Your planet will be restored to the Eden it was in its tender beginning. And those Christ ones upon your planet now are the first seeds of Eden's future. You are the changers. You are the ones who seek out divine guidance and who will bring the divine to earth again. You are the ones whose hearts are full of love for the peoples of the planet, for the world upon which you walk, and for the universe you gaze upon.
Okay, so hopefully that's you. That's me. Love is I don't even want to call it a learned behavior, because it's one that we're born with. We just need to embrace it as a key part of why we vibrate the way we do. It's a transformational feeling that makes you see everything differently. And it's hard to articulate. It's just the bravery of being able to say, hey, I love you, man. And it gets easier and easier. And you continue to get refined. So we're at a point right now where what you pay attention to, and notice all the good things that Ashtar said about where we're going, because it's true. I can tell you firsthand that it's true. I'm going to live forever. That's my intention. And I will ascend with all my humans who are with us as one. The understanding that Hillary may go down, and the dominoes that were being shown on Fox and Hannity that I just showed you are dominoes that are leading to the news about Hillary. And I've already put a wager on it. I know I shouldn't, but I gotta get even. Actually, I don't. That's a bad attribute. But I don't. I just want to enjoy myself along the way, because I think this indictment's going to come down. You know, I gave myself cushion to the end of April, but I think it's going to come sooner, because the message from Gould was only 2-3 days ago. And then this Ashtar thing, as you saw in the date, is fairly recent too. It's like 2 to 3 days ago. So all the pointers in the esoteric world and in the closer to the real world, you saw Hannity say this on news, that the leader of our military is talking with the Chinese. They said it. They said it. Now, are you supposed to go, oh, Hannity's lying? I mean, where are you at that point? It's like Trump coming down the escalator the period before he actually does it in real life. It's sort of that same reaction. You just sort of scream at your own brain. What? You're like Levin screaming it. You missed the point that the leader of our military would be coordinating with our enemy? If that were to be true, so then we're supposed to have a problem, you see, when they work together behind the scenes. So it all leads to Hillary, and she doesn't care. If you think Hillary cares about being indicted now, allow me to kindly remind you that her and Bill have run rampant as Ahab and Jezebel across this nation of biblical proportions. One day when I have the time, you can track the verses to see, whoa, that's very similar. Just the general attitude of going for it. What does it matter? Her attitude. We saw him, we got him. I've seen the pictures of, we did it. So, they're trying to pin it on her now. And she's in the middle of it. There's certainly a lot to pin. I don't know how far they'll go. They can go back to the dossier in order to legitimize the lack of evidence that was used to use the spy on Trump system, to use the government apparatus to spy on a potential threat. And Flynn tripped the wire when he had to talk with, understand now, Mike Flynn is a peer of mine, and if you think he's going to stand there and have a conversation with the freaking Russian ambassador about what Trump's going to do and worry about mitigation and then lie to Pence, there's no way that fact wouldn't be done for a purpose. Now, as a military person who's trying to play a game and still be in it, I'm like, okay, they did that just to trip the John Kerry-esque girl from Massachusetts who's Obama's ambassador to the UN, or whatever she was, and she had the right to go pull the trigger on this warrant system that the FBI uses to go use government resources to spy on a U.S. citizen. That's what it amounts to. And because Flynn talked to the Russians and then allegedly lied to Pence and on the media, they were provoked into, okay, we can use his name, and that allows us. And they sort of, it was this outing, and all it did was, Flynn played his part, and he got arrested. So I don't know whether that guy was living scared. I mean, he must have known Trump was going to pardon him, or if that was needed, he would have done it. Trump would have done it because he's on the team. But my point is that Flynn has played his role as a military intelligence officer, and there is no one that I can think of besides a very few men that can talk the talk on the dark side and the light side and United States Special Operations Command. That's how it is. You're looking at them. In an equivalent, I didn't end up doing what he did. Plain and simple. I'm a field guy. He's probably a field guy. I don't know what his first assignments were. He sat up in Norfolk. Whatever that was a training thing of some description. And he got into stuff in the Navy. That place up there where they were doing stuff, and got weirded out. Like it was like a Stratcom weird thing. because I got a friend who's a general officer named Dave Morris, and he was up there, and I was learning about all this crap, and I'm going, weird. Weird. I know what weird is now. And it was a woo-woo up there. So, all of a sudden Flynn is wanting Hillary to go to jail, which, of course, you don't need to, I don't need to tell you, if you believe you want that. And then he releases Q. Trump becomes president, and there's access to Q. So Trump wants him as his national security advisor because Flynn knows Q because he's from the U.S. SOCOM organization where Q was invented. And so it advanced so far using this software like Prometheus and these other algorithms that the guys that used to work for me just marked up this thing to a point where it was the orb that Trump danced around with the Rex Exxon guy and the swords over in Saudi. That was essentially omniscient knowledge artificial. Hey, you want to know it? You want to ask that crystal ball a question, it's going to shit out the right answer for you because it's just out there pulling everything. AT&T, all the services in the black box of AT&T in Manhattan, it's routing through there electronically. And there's a massive computer that's buried under DEN with a Lucifer horses out there at the airport. And there's replicated servers in Venezuela and these other places to ensure that they got what they got. And that architecture was supposedly had something to do with the elections. So I know from my profession that our SIGINT community is high and tight. The guys that want to play and go get the bad guys know how to do it. So if there was a way to discern from electronic traffic that there was an election fraud, not only do we have the capability of doing it, but if you want to play America, there's a responsibility to your citizens to go get the truth. And these guys all know this. That's how passionate, how deep the game is. And what you know, at the underbelly, it's a game. But you, as an unwitting knight, you want to go in there and find out who the hell, you want to be the guy that runs with the report to them and say, guys, here's the proof right here that Arizona and Georgia, whatever the hell the thing was. So I'm saying we all kind of knew that was all going on from an election standpoint. And we also know fairly clearly that this dossier was peppered up and used to, get some goodies going on Trump to legitimize perpetual spying on him as a rogue agent of potential debt to Russia that they alleged. And, I know that there is sincere disdain between Trump and them. They are professional Fabians, but he gets even. They laughed at him at that dinner on television. He gets even, only 10 times worse. He told that to Miss Universe. So, my message, this video that's again too long, and it's a little too, not full of love, is not to fall for crap on television. It's really, I got a good friend that I talk to, and I think he taunts me because he's telling me that, Russia's going to definitely do this. Guys, maybe the hockey game's real. That's about it. All the other stuff is when the whistle blows and that's that, then when the bullshit's on. So you hope that that's enough of that. Just watch the way this goes, leading towards Hillary, so that you don't believe it. You say, that other guy that I listen to on when I don't watch TV, who's telling me this other thing. Whoa, Look what they did. Hillary is finally going down. They make you wait. The first flippin' Q report on 17